All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. We're back with more of the Umbrella Academy, Season 1, Episode 7. It is called The Day That Was, so full spoilers if you haven't seen this episode. Yes, I've been taking my time with this. Like I said, I'm not binging through this, so if you've already completed the episode, please no spoilers in the comments section. Otherwise, I would love to hear everybody's take on this so far. Great episode. I didn't know that they could do better than the last episode, but this is pretty damn close. It's really, really good. And it gives you pretty much, and it checks off all the boxes leading up to episode 8, which I can't wait to watch. But I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to be watching it tomorrow. So this is the one Umbrella Academy video for the day. Now, I guess I was going to, say what a difference a day makes, but it's not. It's what a difference a person can make. After all the events unfolded without Five in the mix, now we see what happens when he is. And while I really appreciated that a lot of stuff changed, what I really appreciated was the stuff that didn't change. And that's most notably Cha-Cha and Hazel's storyline, where it just still plays out the same way. We just didn't get to see the ending from last week when Cha-Cha got hit on the head. We didn't know how much of that storyline was going to change, and none of it does. And I thought it was really great. You see it mainly from Cha-Cha's perspective in the last episode. This one you see it from Hazel's perspective. And we get to see, yes, that the commission is pitting them against each other. And he just won't kill her. He lets her go through with what he sees. She shoots, and he knocks her out, and he tries to just tell her, look, we need to go our separate ways. I quit. I want to live my own life. She's telling him there's only 3 days left. You're being stupid. I think maybe she's in love with him. I think maybe she's reacting because, there's two ways I'm looking at this. She's either in love with him or just she's so pissed off that she thinks he's only staying for a woman. Maybe that's both, either one is a possible situation. But what I really liked here was just Hazel's just shaking and not being able to kill her and leaving and with her yelling and everything. What I didn't like about it, and there is something here I don't like about it, and I've been pretty happy with Hazel and Cha-Cha's storyline, but here's what I don't like. This isn't the actor's fault. This is a writing thing. The fact that they didn't both figure out, both say to each other, like, look, like there was never this part of the conversation that they pitted us against each other. They want us dead. Why would they, they don't have this conversation. You can be mad at each other all you want, but the really big problem that you need to be talking about is why do they want to pit you both against each other? It means that they're worried you're going to stop the apocalypse. It's why they want Harold Jenkins protected and them to kill each other. But they never get there, and that kind of bothered me. And it's not to say that can't still happen, but it felt like this would be the most natural thing. She's chained to a radiator. Both pieces of paper are there. Why didn't they have this conversation? I'm assuming that if it wasn't now, it's happening later. It just feels more natural immediately. I don't like things that pay off later when it could have been done then and made more sense at that time, but whatever. It's a little nitpick. But yeah, Hazel's on his own and doing his thing, and I really appreciated that. We'll talk about the song at the end of this episode that plays over everybody's thing, but so Five didn't tell anybody he was shot, which is hilarious. And Luther figuring out again about he didn't send his dad didn't read any of the reports that he sent from the moon, which you get two different ways to look at this now, because with Diego doing something different now, Klaus is the one that has to come to Luther to tie him up, but Luther's drunk, really drunk. And you would think a big man would be able to hold his liquor, but maybe he just hasn't really drank. And maybe that's why it's getting on top of him right away, that he hasn't. Maybe just because he's big, he's probably not been much of a drinker. It doesn't sound like he's had a girlfriend or gotten laid or anything either. So, but what I love about this is Klaus being like the grown-up here. Or trying to be the grown-up here. Because he doesn't want anything to do with any of this. You know, he'd rather just Well, he's trying to dry out, but he really doesn't want anything to do with any of this. And so when it ends up at the club, which is great, and I like the Luther character, but that suit that they got him wearing is just, on one hand, it's so bad it's good, but then there's that other part of me. It's just like, that is so bad. That is such a bad suit. And I mean, I know that it's so, I don't know. I guess he's supposed to look like a freak, but it just, I mean, it just looks so fake. I don't know what to say about it. Every time I look at him, I'm just like, oh. And it's not because I'm, like, oh my God, that's gross. It's just so strange looking. A normal head, like, with a normal neck. And maybe that's the point. Maybe it's supposed to look like that, and I just think it's a freak show looking thing, but that's just me. Probably just me. But the other part of this is Klaus they say he died when he hit his head after trying to save Luther from getting his ass whooped, which, really, why? I think Luther can handle himself. Unless the guy was going to shoot him in the head or something. But when he takes the blow to the head and he wakes up in, sounds like heaven, which I did really like, because Klaus is like, I'm agnostic. And the little girl on the bike, who I assume is supposed to be God, or maybe he's just dreaming, I don't know. But that little conversation was really great. Again, like the color, everything black and white, and she's saying that he blends into the scenery because he's so pale, but his shirt was all glowy. I don't, whatever. Don't want to question God. But then when he goes to the barber shop, and I figured that when he thought it was going to be David, I was like, don't be David. It needs to be their dad. And I was pleasantly surprised that that's exactly what I got. That it was him telling him, like, man, like, all this shit, the big reveal that he killed himself to bring the family back together. I thought he was going to say that he created the whole thing about the apocalypse for a second. I thought he was going to say that he caused all this so that they would be forced to come back together in some kind of sick, twisted, idea. But instead, no, they made him more, the way that we view our parents. We can all say that, some people legit hate their parents. Some people legit love them with all their hearts. But I like what they do here, because they could have made him just go full on more, like, prove how much of a piece of shit he was. To kind of saying, like, he was desperate. And suicide, look, it's not the answer. But, it's a story, and I just feel like the only thing that could ever bring them back was their mutual hatred. or concern for their father, which is pretty smart, I guess. It wasn't smart. It wasn't smart, but it's better than, like, saying that he actually caused the apocalypse. But Colm Feore, who I really like, and he just hasn't had much to do this season. This is probably the most he's gotten to do in the whole season. By him trying to tell him that, you guys are supposed to stop it, but then Klaus comes back. He comes to before he can do anything about it. The cold open, speaking of their father, I really liked where we get to see Leonard Peabody's, Harold Jenkins, basically the reason for everything he's been doing. And yes, it is, like, for sure now that he is the bad guy, or became a bad guy, I should say. And I don't like that I called it right away. I don't like that it was so obvious. Was it supposed to be obvious? Was it supposed to be something that, where we're going to be going, is it really him? Because, like, they kept covering his face for a while, and I'm like, that's him, though. It's him. But they hold off to the very last moment of that beginning to show his face, like, oh my God. If you're somebody that went, oh God, it's really him. Dude. Although, people that never see anything coming probably think everything that they see is amazing. And I kind of wish that I could see things like that, where every single thing they see is like, like they never see anything coming, so everything is a surprise. I almost envy people that can do that. But him being obsessed, wanting to be a hero like the Umbrella Academy, coming from a crazy abusive relationship with his father, who apparently just comes home and needs his son to get him a beer. Hurry up and get me a beer. I know it's not the first time I've seen this in TV or movies, but like that whole caricature of abusive father who's just like, who lives just to, I'm home, I was at work all day, you work now, you get me the beer, that kind of mentality. It's just, I'm familiar with that kind of mentality, let's just say that. So it was kind of hard watching the abuse scenes here with the father. Although, come on, kid, put the fucking comic book down. You know you're about to get smacked in the mouth. So I don't really agree with that kind of writing where they purposely put the kid in harm's way when, come on. How many times a kid got to get popped in the mouth that avoiding the next beating would be precedent over the comic book you can read in 30 seconds after you get him the fucking beer. So I didn't really like the way that was written, but again, not my show. But then when he goes to meet them, and I guess, hey, look, they say never meet your heroes, but you also aren't supposed to jump the barricades and try to throw yourself at him. Now, I know the kid's desperate. He wants out of there, but it's called to call the police. Look, I'm saying this because I've been through my own abuse. And I'm probably just really telling 12-year-old me that I should have called the cops. But I don't know. But I love Colm Feore here, who just is so cold about it. But I feel like even in his coldness, he's just trying to be direct and keep this kid from having false hope. And the only way to do it, in his mind, is to just be that blunt object that just kind of goes, get off my property. I don't care that you were born on the same day as the rest of these kids. Like, I almost feel like Dad must know a lot more than we know so far. Or knew, I guess. And so that was really, really good. And it makes sense, that's how you create villains and things. But again, just the spurned character, like, I would think that he, I don't know. It just, the obsession that he gets from it is, from here on out, like, just so, he's such a obvious bad guy. He's playing it so obvious. I mean, when he's trying to tell Vanya how to learn, use her powers and stuff, and immediately just being like irate with her and impatient with her. But I do like the writing here where she's calling him and I'm like, dude, what is up with you? Like, why are you so invested in this? Like, and so when it comes to the part where she, uses her powers when he's being kicked, and it's that emotional thing, the last time when all the things were coming in, she was emotional. So part of me wonders, if it didn't work at the boat, did he set up those the people at the bar or the restaurant or whatever to fight him, to kick him, to push her to an emotional level? I think he did. It just seems like something that they're gonna pull out of their ass. Like, hey man, you used your powers, it worked, But if not, whatever. But her powers are pretty awesome looking. And yeah, he's in the hospital and he's alive, so we'll find out in the next episode what happens with him. But again, I'm kind of disappointed that while I totally figured that that's where they were going with him being a bad guy, I wish that it wasn't just so obvious. I wish that there were some more characters in here that you could say could possibly be the one that turns this villain, but instead we just have this one guy. So it's kind of easy to pick who's going to be the one that goes bad. I mean, if all of a sudden some nobody just showed up and said, "It's me," it's like, oh fuck. Again, Allison's character really doesn't get anything to do but just kind of be there and say, I care. I want to help. I want to go see my kid. Oh, what's up with you? Diego, on the other hand, I finally put it together. What's up with Diego? Diego and Luther have a real Raphael Leonardo relationship. Like, Luther's the leader, the reluctant leader, kind of like Leonardo. We're talking about Ninja Turtles, just in case I got to be clear about that. And Raph being the one with the more gruff one, the more one that's wanting to fight and get all in there and stuff. And it wasn't until Allison says, when Diego says that Luther was right, and Allison calls him on it, and I was like, oh my God, they're totally Raph and Leonardo. Except I don't think Raph would have gone quietly when the cops tried to take him in. In fact, actually, I'm a little shocked that Diego let them take him in, except for writing. I mean, they wrote it that way, but I'm kind of wondering like why the writers decided to go in that direction. But I mean, I guess they wanted our characters separated again. You can't get them away because we have to see that big moment of them all coming together. They all fight their adversity to get together. It's like, fuck that shit. It's been done to death. Just give me everybody. I'm spoiled. And then 5, we don't really get too much of 5, but what we do get is Radiohead's exit music for a film, and that was an amazing way to end the episode, with showing everybody's, ending where they're at right now with Diego in jail, 5 in bed, Vanya in the hospital, Allison headed towards the cabin. And it's just a phenomenal episode. I liked that Mom is back trying to take care of 5. And I'm sorry if I'm missing anything, but we're already at 17 minutes, and I'm kind of stretching, feeling like I've said everything I need to say. So anyway, just a phenomenal episode. That song at the end, I always get goosebumps whenever I hear that song, so kudos to them. I love that every time I watch this episode, I've got Radiohead coming, so cool. Anyway, so that's it for this episode. If you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Gun Review saying that after this, we will be having the Captain America, the Winter Soldier review will be coming up later tonight. And then late, we'll be having episode 7, the penultimate episode of season 1 of Deadly Class will be up later on too. So big night for everything. So otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Gun Review saying have a great night, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.